Well, hello everyone. How are you guys doing today? I hope you're doing good. Welcome to the Hillbillyfiles. My name is Leo, and I will be your host today on an adventure like no other. We are out here today on a very special mission. I made a post in our little, the community tab about this one, that we were going to be doing this one, and it was a story that truly deserved to be told, but it was probably going to hurt a little bit to hear it. Well, we're there. If you're watching this, I highly recommend you probably sit down, hang on to your loved ones, and brace for impact. We are out today, as a lot of you know, when we first got the idea to add the Lost Lives series to our channel. The purpose and the vision was to highlight people exactly like the ones we have for you today. People that were not famous and didn't die being murdered or participating in things that led down a dark path to an untimely end. It's a tragic and also inspiring story of two people who truly deserve to have their story told. This story has been lost, and these people have been waiting since 1945 to have this story told. The people we want you to meet today wanted a normal life with the same dreams that most of us have right now. A family, love, just growing old together, simply having a happy life. Unfortunately, no one can really control life, but you can avoid certain behaviors that may have a bad outcome, but some things you can't run away from or change. The first person we want you to meet today is Mary Juanita Allen, right here. Look at that. Was far too sweet to linger longer. And just look at this. What a beautiful grave. I just cleaned this up when I got here. The footstone was broken off. So I cleaned some of the limbs off of it and put her headstone back where it was at. Mary here was born on a chilly March 5th day in 1924. She was born in Ravenscroft, Tennessee, to Gomer Clemens and Alice Frances Webb. She was the second oldest child with 5 other siblings, including younger twin sisters named Patty Sue and Peggy Jo. She and her family, I'm going to get comfortable here, just sit down for a minute. She and her family lived in Tennessee until sometime just before 1940, because in this census she lives in McAndrews, Kentucky, which is here in Pike County. I'll admit, I had a time finding this place, guys. The old GPS shows a road coming up here, but it's a cliff now. So I came up earlier in the Mustang and went all the way around this place looking for some way to get up here. There's a road back here that comes up, but the Mustang wouldn't make it. So I had to go home and switch out vehicles and come back up here to tell you this story. This area of, Toller, McAndrews area, it's a coal mining town. So it wasn't surprising to see her dad listed as a coal miner on this census, verifying for us that he came here for work, as many people did. Mary is now only 16, but what she didn't know was that she only had 2 years left to live. Mary, at some point, met a young, handsome man named Wilke Monroe Allen. Wilke was a year or so older than Mary. He was born July 15th, 1922, here in Toller, Kentucky, to Boyd Allen and Gustava Murphy, but spent some of his youth growing up in Ohio. His dad is listed as being in road construction, but by 1940, young Wilky is out all on his own. He's around 18, and somehow he came back here to Pike County and had met and married young Mary here. He enlisted in the Army from a Kentucky recruiting station on November 22nd in 1942. He had put down that he worked at Williamson Shaft Contract Company. It says that he was 6'1", 170 pounds, with blonde hair and blue eyes. He and Mary had just gotten married, and he wanted to take care of her and any upcoming family that they may soon have. Many people joined the military during this time out of a sense of patriotism, wanting to do something about what was going on in the world before the threat of World War II came to their front door. Some joined for security, steady pay, medical benefits, and so on, but World War II was raging at the time, so this was a very risky move. 8 months after he and Mary married, only 3 months after he had enlisted, Mary passed away. She was 2 weeks shy of her 19th birthday. The cause of death was listed as tuberculosis. She was laid to rest in this cemetery. All of their hopes and dreams of a family and a happy life together were now smashed to pieces. We aren't sure if he was here for the funeral or not, but at least his life would eventually go on, right? He was still a very young man. Wilke Allen entered the service on November 23rd in 1942. He served in England, France, Belgium, and Germany too. He was part of the 364th Engineer General Service Regiment. But on March 31st, 1945, Wilke's life would also come to a screeching halt. Wilke would be killed in action at 22 years old. Within the space of just a few short years, he had married, lost his wife, gone to war, and lost his life. Wilke was a first lieutenant and earned a Purple Heart in service to his country. I don't know exactly how he died, but we do know that he is still over 4,000 miles away from his family and his home. He's buried in the Netherlands in the American Cemetery and Memorial. Although this is an amazing place. It's still not his home. And he's still, after all these years, not with her. He never did get to come home. But he is put to rest very respectfully down there. You see, this is a very special cemetery that was created in November of 1944 under the leadership of Joseph Showman of the 611th Graves Registration Company. Each grave in this cemetery is adopted by a local family who cherish them as liberators. The people who set them free after years of German military occupation. They bring them flowers and visit the graves multiple times a year. This adoption of American soldiers' graves is passed down through their descendants, with some families tending to the same graves since 1945. We read that there is a waiting list to adopt the treasured grave sites that literally reaches around the grounds. The list literally reaches to the ground. Originally, over 28,000 servicemen were buried in that cemetery. Many were repatriated and reburied in the U.S. in the late 1940s. Commonwealth and German soldiers were also reinterred elsewhere. They even have a day dedicated to meeting your liberators. The Netherlands American Cemetery and Memorial is the only American military cemetery in the Netherlands. The cemetery site itself has a very rich historical background, lying near the famous Cologne Highway, built by the ancient Romans and used by Caesar during his campaign in that area. The highway was also used by Charlemagne, Charles V, Napoleon, and Kaiser Wilhelm II. On May of 1940, Hitler's legions advanced over the route of the old Roman highway, overwhelming the Low Countries. In September of 1944, German troops once more used the highway for their withdrawal from the countries they had occupied for 4 years. The cemetery's tall memorial tower can be seen long before reaching the site, which covers over 65 acres. From the cemetery's entrance, visitors are led to what's called the Court of Honor, with its reflecting pool and tower. At the base of the tower, facing the reflecting pool, is a statue representing grieving mothers who lost their children to war. To the right and left, respectively, are the visitor building and the map room, containing 3 large engraved maps with texts showing the military operations of the American Armed Forces, who showed up at their darkest hour and set them free. Tough story to tell, y'all. Tough story to hear. Stretching along the sides of the court are tablets of the missing, on which are recorded 1,722 names. Rosettes mark the names of those who have been recovered and identified. Unique to the cemetery is the connection that it has with the local people. Since 1945, like I said, members of the local community have adopted the grave site of the fallen soldiers. They bring flowers to the cemetery and research the lives of their service members as a way to honor their ultimate sacrifice. Today, the Foundation for Adopting Graves at the American Cemetery in the town of Margaretine manages the program. The Foundation, United Adopters of American War Graves, created a program known as the Faces of Margaretine. This group collects photos of our fallen and sponsors biannual events at the cemetery during Dutch Memorial Day weekend. More than 3,000 photos are on display that weekend next to the headstones and on the walls, bringing local visitors face to face with their liberators. So, Wilky does have people who remember him and truly love him, at least, even though they never knew him. But I'm sure he would still give anything just to be where I am right now and be back with his young, beautiful wife, Mary. All they wanted was to be together, but they were destined to be separated half a world apart for all eternity. We can't bring either of them back, or even bring him back home to be with her. But we can bring their story back to life, and we can tell you all about it. And maybe, just maybe, preserve some small piece of their lives. We also plan to leave him a small memorial here today with her, reconnecting them back together in death is the best that any of us can do for them. Like I said, this is a story that truly deserves to be told. We brought Mary a little gift today that I think you guys will like. I really do. Heather made this yesterday. Since Wilky can't be here with her, he's, like I said, half a world away in the Netherlands. So since he can't be here with her, we made a little gift for her. And I'm gonna leave it here beside her grave as a memento of Wilky, of all of the things that were lost, all of the Thanksgivings and Christmases and children happiness, all of the things that we take for granted, they were denied. But it's certainly sad, and it's inspiring, you know, the sacrifice. When y'all know how I am about old military graves, about veterans, that sort of thing. But she got no recognition. She got a stone, which Wilky got a stone, but there's still a difference. He's with people who truly cherish him. And her, poor Mary, is up here on this lonely hillside all by herself. Anyhow, guys, appreciate y'all coming along. Appreciate you hearing our little story. And, you know, just keep this young person, this young couple, in your prayers. And I guess with all of this, I suppose my mission here is complete. This is Leo with the Hillbilly Files. Leo out.